guys, it's Fallon, your friendly neighborhood librarian. I am here with a book review for you. I've got Theodore right here, my dog, and Jeremiah, my cat. They're joining me for this review just because my couch is where I do everything. It is comfortable. Shout out to my boyfriend for buying it for me. So I have been on vacation for a week. I went to California. It's beautiful. I love California. I've been there before. I am a beach baby. I was born on the East Coast in Virginia Beach area. So anytime I can get to an ocean is usually the best trip ever, just because I just need that water sound. I need the ocean, and being in a landlocked state like I am right now is not good for me. So all that to say, I have a book here that I finished just recently. I started it in the airport, devoured it for the next 3 hours, and I can't get enough of it, guys. I can't. I finished it just now, and I had to hop on here and do a book review, and that is Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, the definitive how-to guide by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. Now, you might know those names from the podcast My Favorite Murder, and I wanted to bring this review to you guys because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of reviews of it, but I wanted to bring this review to you guys because I actually don't listen to their podcast, and I will after reading this and after all my friends have highly recommended it because I am bad about listening to podcasts. I have a 2-minute commute. I don't really have a reason to listen to podcasts, so it's kind of bad. I need to start listening to them at work. But they do My Favorite Murder, which is totally up my alley because I'm a true crime aficionado. I love Peter Likes Books, True Crime Goodreads book club. I kind of stay on that and do all that I need to do with that and keeping up with it. I have read a lot of true crime this year, so it's been really fun. But basically, these two women have started a podcast where they talk about true crime and murders. I did know that going in. I did know basically who they were, but also I have seen, I can't remember who it is. Georgia. I have seen Georgia numerous times on Drunk History. It's one of my favorite shows. I have a bachelor's degree in history, so anytime I could see history told in a way that's entertaining and informative for people, I will devour that show. I'll devour that book. But back to this book. This book is it's phenomenal, guys. It's amazing. There's artwork in it. They have different chapters with different essays about their life, about how they came to become on the podcast. Here's an example of some of the artwork. They credit all the artwork to the different artists. And my favorite thing about it is that it's just so hardcore feminist. And I love a good feminist book. I am not as hardcore as I used to be. I'm not militant by any means, and I don't feel like I need to make that disclaimer. Nobody should have to make that disclaimer. You're a feminist if you're a feminist. That's what it comes down to. But what I love about this book is that they admit the things that they've done wrong in life and how that can be life lessons for everybody else. But then they take the time to also discuss some of the language and the rhetoric that's out there and how that's impactful for women and how that is something that we as a culture need to change. And you wouldn't think you would get that out of a book like this, but it's so well done, and they're just like brief little essays, and it's amazing. And I can't really summarize it because it is a nonfiction book, but I just needed the world to know that this book is amazing. I am not a murderino. I am now a murderino because I didn't even really take the time to listen to the podcast, and I'm ashamed about it. But also, I'm a person who doesn't listen to the podcast. I picked up this book because all of my friends were reading it, and all my friends are obsessed with My Favorite Murder. And, I like to stay within the pop culture zeitgeist a lot. There's things that I know, movies I haven't seen that I still know basic stuff about, and I'm going to admit this, and y'all are going to hate me, but I haven't seen Die Hard, but I basically know the plot of Die Hard and all the famous scenes. So, My Favorite Murder is another example of that. But if I, as a person who am not a murderino and I don't listen to their podcast, love this book, I think it needs to get a lot of mention out there. And I think it maybe needs to win some awards because it's amazing and it's awesome. But why I wanted to talk about Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, why I wanted to talk about Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered is that I was kind of thinking about just issuing myself a challenge for the rest of the year of reading one feminist leaning book or a book that is meant to be inspiring to women a month, and then talking about it on this channel, because I don't think enough people really talk about stuff like that. There's not a lot of nonfiction in booktube, and I'm surprised by that. I think a lot of people get burned out on nonfiction in school, and they don't take the time to really look and search out some of these funnier things or some of these more informative things. So I would like to start once a month just going over a nonfiction book I read that's supposed to be meant to be inspiring to women, what I think about it, if I feel like it's actually a feminist book or not. And I think that that's a very important thing to talk about when it comes to books that are meant to be inspiring for women and talked about with women. So that's really that. This is going to be a very short video. I just wanted to get out there and just plug this book because I love it so much. And if you haven't even heard of it, maybe go look it up. It's hard to summarize because it is basically just them telling their life story and lessons they've learned, and how the lessons they've learned with the podcast are actually applicable to everybody. And that's what's great about it. So I'm going to start listening to the podcast. You guys should too. I'm going to link it down below. I'm going to link this book down below. And if you haven't, just, find me on Goodreads. Find me everywhere and just follow me. I'd love to have a conversation. If you've read this book, that would be great. If not, just, pick it up. Read it. It's awesome. So that's all for today. I will see you guys later. As always, next time. Bye.